Okay, today I want to look at Balenciaga. Now, I've actually tried to do this reading before. Maybe I was being too specific with my question before, but this topic seems to be surrounded with a bit of fog. So I'm going to ask the question again, only this time just super vague. So I'm just looking at the Balenciaga ad campaign, right? And I looked into this, and the more I looked into it, holy shit, a fucking rabbit hole for sure. There's a lot there. Um, so usually I have Frank. Frank is this little piece of Arkansas quartz that I have, and I have Frank with me in all the readings. This topic makes Frank sad. So I'm not using Frank. So instead I got this guy. Oh, boo. That's what he says. Well, anyway, this is my helper for the reading. This right now, the reading is also being done on my little solar system table. This is my workbench for where I make the wooden carvings. The router would only go out to the third planet. Um, so anyway, none of that matters. But here I'm looking at the Balencia ad campaign. Rayfield 19 was the random word and number. But I'm just looking at it. Ad campaign. What do we have? So, all right. So, a root card of the Seven of Swords. Now, the Seven of Swords is someone under pressure to perform, under pressure to do a specific thing. And on top of that is the Fool. Okay, so the Fool is a new beginning. The Fool is like the beginning of a new chapter. It's like sort of new world kind of energy. The fish is really sticking out to me here. The fish that is biting him on the leg. Now, what happens in the card, the Fool is compelled to run across this channel, right? And the Fool doesn't know that the channel is filled with piranha. But the piranha are not strong enough to keep the Fool from getting to achieve their destination. You know, the piranha can't keep the Fool from getting across the channel. But if the Fool knew that there were piranha in the water, he wouldn't have jumped in. So it shows how having no expectation um, opens up a great deal more potential, and it keeps you free from the shackles of fear. Now, we're going to fill this in a little bit, but we do have a base card again of a Seven of Swords. So here there is pressure to do something. One of the questions that I had was like, the person who designed the sets on these ads went to great lengths, right? Like, this is like the amount of energy that's put into creating detailed tarot cards with layers and layers of symbolism. And they did that. So, did they do that so they could expose something? Did they do it to set these people up? Like, here it shows that they may have done that because they were pressured to do so. So let's see if we can find out more about the Fool. Let's see if we can do anything about this light here. And the answer might be no. All right, let's just see what's on either side of the Fool. So what came before and what comes after? Okay. Well, what comes before? The Six of Swords. So this is getting away from some sort of mental conflict um, and trying to move to a place of peace, which brings in the Fool. And what comes next is the Strength card. Fascinating. What I'm getting is a parallel between the fish that are biting the fool here and this fish monster that the person is wrestling in the strength card. So, oh, all right, hold on, hold on. I have to look deeper into what the fish are representing here because I think this is a more mature version of the little things that show up in the Fool, right? So he jumps into this pool and it's filled with these biting creatures. Now, here, the person then has to basically fight the thing and overpower it. But what are the fish representing? And we get the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is like the ultimate sort of leader, the father figure. Huh. Well, okay. One thing that I'm going to say, this might be a stretch, but as this is the King of Wands, the King of Wands, the King of Fire. Now, in one of the ads, there was caution tape, and the caution tape said Balenciaga, but there were two A's in that Balenciaga. So it said Balen, and so on. I mean, that's the only part you could see. But that is ball. Some say Bale, right? Now, there's a lot of different stories about what that means. But in the ancient Semitic languages, in the ancient languages of the Middle East, that word meant Lord. It literally just meant Lord. So there's a whole bunch of deities with that as their name or that in their name. Now, I mean, king and Lord, pretty much the same deal. I think in the Bible, they mentioned Baal being some sort of a god of fire or something. So the Canaanite deity Baluhadu, was a storm god, but I think I've seen references to Baal or Baal as a fire god. Now, here, this is the King of Wands, and that is the King of Fire. So, okay. All right. Now the ads. This is a lot here, but so the ads, especially there's one in particular that I'm thinking of, and it actually shows a little boy, and that's the one with the ball caution tape. Um, that one basically shows a ritual. There's a lot of ritual elements in it, and I'm looking at the fool a little closer, and we have the zero, but we also having him pointing to the top of his head or to his crown chakra. And I'm wondering if this is an invocation. So it could be. So we've got pressure, and it's interesting. We got the six and the seven. So the six, I mean, the seven generally follows the six. Here it looks like it may have kind of gone the other way, but we've got the pressure. Then we have the Six of Swords, which is trying to find mental peace and separating from some sort of disruption. Moving to the Fool, the new chapter, I'm kind of currently reading this as an invocation of the King of Wands, and now it's like basically trying to fight its influence. Boy, I don't know. That all might be a stretch. That all might be horseshit. Now that I look at it, it's like, okay, so if this ancient deity, if this person did invoke this ancient deity, then why would they immediately sort of expose them? You know what I mean? Unless that's what the deity wanted, is a bunch of people to say its name. Um, interesting. All right, let's just look at this. I'm going to ask a yes or no question. And this is like, is there a deity that was being invoked? Now, one just fell out on the floor here, and it's the High Priestess reversed. The High Priestess, this is even creepier, right? So the High Priestess, her arms are crossed in front of her heart. What is sacred, what is special is held on the inside. And she's not sharing that shit with anyone. The High Priestess reversed is when what is secret, what is sacred, gets violated. This is like the story of how Medusa and the Gorgons were created, right? They were these priestesses in this temple, and that temple was violated by Neptune, I think, the sea god, and the sea god raped them. And as a punishment to them for getting raped, they were turned into the Gorgons. Super fucked up. But that's the kind of energy that I'm getting out of the reversed High Priestess. So, is there an actual entity that was invoked? This is more like maybe not on purpose, this is more of a forced violation. So, I mean, in some way, it looks like they were maybe possessed or taken advantage of, like they were controlled or violated in some way. And I'm talking about the person that did the set design here, right? Okay, what are we missing? We're definitely missing a shitload. So let's just see, what are we missing here? I'm missing something. And we get a Nine of Cups. So the Nine of Cups, I mean, for one, this shows confusion. There's a lot of shit going on. And the person is just dazzled at how much is going on. So there's a few different layers of this card that are coming out. One of them is also literally summoning a genie from a lamp. Dang. So there is confusion. I mean, this is probably why my original reading on this topic with a very specific question ran into a fucking smokescreen. It just ran into fog. It didn't make any sense. And I'm not saying that this is the most crystal clear fucking thing I've ever seen either. But there's moving pieces, there's like illusion, there's a lot of stuff that's going on here. So with this, I mean, I am going to say that there's more evidence of the summoning of an entity, but also that there is confusion, there is illusion. It is probably going to be very difficult to know anything close to truth when it comes to this matter. All right. So, as a yes or no question, is this the tip of a fucking iceberg, right? Is this just a tiny piece of something that is way bigger? And it's so big that it's starting to surface, right? Whew. All of these cards are falling down on the floor. Now, what we get is actually this thing reversed. Four of Wands, this is the person who buries themselves so they can sort of recharge. And the Four of Swords reversed is when they don't get to separate, they don't get to bury themselves. As far as the question of, is this the tip of an iceberg? I think if it wasn't before, it is now. This is something maybe that has come unburied. Whoop, like that. So here it is very peaceful, very restful, underground. I mean, it would be hidden. And this way, it is not hidden, it's not underground, it's not peaceful, it is not restful. All right. So, what comes next? What comes next with any of this? I mean, then the question is for who? What comes next for fucking who? I don't know the answer to that. So I'm just gonna say, all right, what comes next in this deal? We'll say with this energy that they're working with, that somebody is fucking working with that showed up in these ads. What comes next? And a lot of these cards are coming out reversed here. Seven of Wands coming out of an old restriction. Seven of Wands reversed is like coming out of the restriction but turning around and going right back in. This would lead me to believe, let's see, I got to look a little closer at this thing because there might be something that I'm missing. I am seeing the cuts and the scars on the person. And that's just what happens to them because they've been trapped in this forest for so long, and as they push through it, you know, they get cut a little bit. And we're looking at it upside down. Huh. Well, if there is an energy that is trying to be released, that is trying to come free, this is basically saying that it is not going to come free, that it is still going to be trapped or stuck, right? Now that might be here because whoever is working with this energy is managing to control it. All right. So, I mean, I guess I don't see any real point in going any further because this already is fucking sketchy. Right? This is like, oh, ooh, I don't know. So, I'm gonna hold it here for now. I would love to hear what you think. Any other aspects you would like me to look at this from, or if you think the whole thing is fucking hogwash, you know, any of that stuff. Um, that is what we have for now. Peace.